Alright guys, I am always working on the boat, trying to come up with different things. To start off with, this is my first boat I've ever owned, and I've bought it about, let's say, I don't know how well you can see me, sorry about the hand, but I bought the boat about three months ago, let's say. And in that time, I've done quite a bit to the boat. It was in decent shape when I bought it. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. It works for my wife and I size-wise. The only thing I don't like is the motor size could have been bigger, because I think the original motor on this boat would have been like a 70, maybe a 60 horsepower motor, which would have been great if it had it on there. But I've got the 35 horsepower motor. Trying to use what I got. I don't have money to buy a new motor. New motors are expensive. Even used motors, you don't know what you're getting into. And she works pretty good for the time being. Um, but I've done the floor since I've bought it. I've painted it. I've done the trailer, a lot to the trailer. I'll give you guys a little view of what I've done to the trailer. But so far I've done quite a bit. I've redone a lot of the hardware, moved the canopy. Uh, Endless. I have a list of all the things I've actually done on the boat. But this is what I'm doing now. Uh, I'll put up a video of me taking the boat out when I had put my jack plate on, as you guys know if you've watched my previous videos. Uh, Took the boat out, and what I've discovered is now it's too low. Before it was too high, now it's too low. My cavitation plate was below the water line, and so I raised it up a little bit, and I've raised it as high as I can now based on the way I made the bracket. Now I could change the bracket a little bit and fix that, keep adjusting, but it's all going to be manual trial and error because I can't do it out on the water. The only thing I can do on the water is the tilt. I can adjust my tilt manually by pulling the pin out and doing it that way, but that's a whole other thing that I'm going to keep working on. But this is what I'm up to right now. When I load my boat, I have a hard time getting it centered on the trailer. The loading dock that I go to, it's on a river, so the current typically is pushing you one way or the other when you're coming into the dock, and it's not really the current, it's the trailer and the type of hull. This is a tri-hull, or it's considered a dual hull cathedral is what they call it, but it's such a weird hull that the placement of the bunk boards is kind of off. Now I've tried to correct it, and I've definitely made it better. I'm trying to adjust it more and more, but what I think I really need is guide rails or guide rail posts, and so that's what I'm trying to come up with. Now I'll give you a little view of what I'm talking about from underneath the boat. Uh, these are the original bunk, like back little bunk skis, and what I added was, it's really hard to see underneath there with the blue and the black, but maybe from here, I added that bracket there and the carpeted bunks. I bought the brackets, I bought the carpet, and I used some wood that I had, and I mounted them on, and they go pretty far to the front. Now again, these ones right here were originally on the boat, which I kind of like them because they kind of got it a little bit in the front, but there is the front of the bunk that I added. Now I've been hesitant to take those other little ones off at the back, but I don't know if they're causing me problems. Now when I'm loading, it hits the front roller. If I can get centered on the front roller and then hook up the winch and leave the motor running in gear, but just slowly idling, it kind of pushes me and keeps me at least somewhere instead of kind of floating around. But it keeps me, and I can turn the motor left and right to get me to square the boat up in the back. Now I have to go over to the back, reach over and reach for one of these to see where they're at, because this trailer, to get the boat on without hitting that back bar and that back roller, if it's too high, you have a tendency to hit that crossbar. So I have to put the trailer pretty low in the back in the water to clear it, to get to the front roller, maybe like mid roller to front roller, and then it's just a pain trying to get it on the trailer. And typically this is pretty busy boat launch, so you're trying to do it in a reasonable time. I don't rush because I just want to get it done right. And I see a lot of beginners out there doing the same thing I'm doing, trying to figure out how to load and unload. So, but I still, at the same time, I don't want to be there looking like an idiot. So I've decided I need guide rails, trailer guide rails. And I have these pieces of extra aluminum laying around from my jack plate, what I cut off of them. And what I'm thinking about doing is, on the light, instead of having to re-bolt, Brandy, I gotta put her inside. Hold on, let's do this quickly. Brandy, inside. Let's go. See, Chester's a good boy. He doesn't bark. Very little. Anyway, back to this. So, at first I was thinking back here. Let me switch around here. Something back here like that. Mount that on, bolt it through, and then bolt another piece to the side of it that I can swivel, and then mount my pipe to here to where it hits my rail. Now then I considered maybe I should have it further back. There's the back of the trailer, there's the light. The boat does hang off the back a little bit, so I figured further back might be better. And what I can do is I can use this bolt and this bolt to bolt this on, take the bracket off, put this on with the light bracket on top of it, and then I would have my other piece sitting like this, which it fits. It, you know, it sits right up against the back of the light, but I can tilt it, and that will give me the right angle for the post to hit my rail, and then I can eventually figure out a height that I want for it. So that's what I've gotten into. I'm gonna take at least one side off right now, take the lights off, drill some holes in these brackets, mount the light and the bracket back on there, then take some clamps, clamp my other piece of aluminum to this, and drill some holes in it, get the right angle for it. Then I got to decide how I want to attach the post. Now if you look at a lot of these brackets online, they're a pipe that comes off and goes up, you know, maybe 2 feet into the pole. And what I could do is, on one of these brackets, is bolt a pole. I'd have to get the diameter of the inside of my pipe. I have these 2 pieces of pipe that were in my garage. I had redone my sprinkler system, and these were some of the pipes that were left over, and they look to be about the right size pipe. So I need a steel pipe, probably galvanized pipe, pole, square preferably, and figure out what would fit in there best, where these things aren't just wobbling around. Well, that's what I'm about to start. Unfortunately, now it's getting dark with the time change, but I have a lot of spotlights out here, and it's something I wanted to do. At least when I'm pulling on the trailer, it would center me in the back a little better. I'm hoping that they'd be strong enough to, if I was coming in a little crooked, it would start centering me better. You know, the front is not the issue. Getting up square to the front roller, I have no problem. And when I do put my trailer in the water, this bunk board I leave it sticking out just a hair out of the top of the water. Now these are buried in the water about maybe 6 inches down. And so that shows you that the boat is 6 inches floating above them, 6 inches. And that's what the hard part is. Maybe not quite 6 inches, but somewhere around there. Depends on if it's a high tide, low tide, when when I'm getting in, coming back. But I'm, something like that. I'm reaching down, and these things are maybe floating down here somewhere. And if I didn't do that, I've hit my keel on these crossbars, and you can't see them in here. I don't know if it will lighten up for me, but there's metal brackets that hold those rollers on, and they're sharp on the top edges, and if you hit one of those, it just scrapes the crap out of your boat. So I'm just trying to make it easier, and the easier I make it loading and unloading, I do it with my wife, and she typically, what we do is we back up. Unloading is not an issue. We back up, and she'll hold 2 ropes, stand on the dock, and I back up, boat starts to float off, we pull it off. It's very simple. She likes to drive the boat, so eventually I'm gonna try to convince her to get in the boat, and I just drop her off, and she starts the motor, she floats off, she turns it on, puts it in reverse, backs it up. Now, I need to teach her how to dock a boat first, because she would have to go out, turn around, and then pull it up to the dock. At least she could drive around for a little bit, and then I could pull the trailer up, get back to the dock, and as she's coming by, at least I could help her pull up to the dock, and then jump in the boat, and we could pull away. But anyway, these are my thoughts. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know my height. I want to leave them because, like I said, the boat floats up pretty high, so I need those poles sticking up at least above the